love it. I love an opening like that. Complete chaos. Hey, everybody, and welcome to my Be Kind and Rewind 1990s VHS playback party. My name is Joe Cipriano, and it's good to see you. We're going to let people come in. We're here every Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, as we flash back to the 1990s and talk about all the fun stuff of that amazing decade. And it really was an amazing decade. Let's see if we can bring up here David. Glad to be back. Glad to have you back here, sir. Thank you so much, and I appreciate you coming in. Tonight, we're going to be stepping into one of the greatest time machines of the 1990s. We're going to be talking about Blockbuster Video. And if you grew up in the 80s, 90s, you already know that this wasn't just a video store. It really was an event, and they were everywhere. I mean, it could be Friday night, Saturday night, family movie night, date night. You'd get in the car, you'd drive to the Blockbuster, you walk through those automatic doors, and suddenly you were surrounded by movies. I mean, everywhere. And the blue and yellow signs, the walls of VHS boxes, the new releases section. Remember the employee recommendation cards. And of course, the pressure, because if you got there a little too late, all the copies were gone. People today, they just don't understand the stress of seeing, sorry, out of stock. And somehow that made movie night more exciting. You wandered through the aisles, looking at cover art. You judged movies by the box. You debated comedies versus action movies. You grabbed candy that they had there at the checkout counter. And of course, once you picked your video, right, you prayed that it was rewound, that somebody was kind to do the rewind, because if not, you're stuck. You have to take it home and rewind it yourself, and that takes a freaking long time. Let's see here. You had to be kind and rewind. Absolutely. Absolutely. I still think I have some Blockbusters tapes in a box next to my Columbia Record Club 8 tracks. Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. And look, what is this? Loved Blockbuster, of course. Somebody said that they work there. Greetings, Joe. I loved it till it closed. Hope someone rented Magnolia for the 45th time. Oh, my goodness. You know, there were other video rental stores, of course, and a lot of mom and pop stores in towns, in neighborhoods. And of course, you know, you always wanted to support your local video store. So, you know, you're kind of torn. Do I go to Blockbuster? Do I go to the neighborhood store? Usually, if you had a really cool neighborhood store, you would want to go there and, you know, support the local folks. There was also a second, like the ugly cousin of national video stores, and it was a store called Hollywood Video. If anybody remembers that, there we go. Worked at Blockbuster. How about that? Hollywood Video had about, I think, maybe about 120 stores, you know, coast to coast. Blockbuster had almost 3,000 in the U.S. And then, of course, I think more throughout the world. And this was part of the reason, in the end, that Blockbuster kind of missed out on the future. I think I love this. I think this is the reason why Blockbuster missed out on the future.
King of the world!
Yes. Okay. All right. We get it. Yes. All right. I think that was really the issue with Blockbuster. They thought nobody could defeat them. They were king of the world, and I think they kind of lost sight on thinking about the future. I mean, to them, the future was, going from VHS to DVD and having people come to the store and pick them up. They weren't thinking digital. They weren't thinking, any forward thinking whatsoever. The internet that was starting to come on. But I do want to play a fun commercial for you in talking about the second best Hollywood video. And I have a commercial here from Hollywood Video that I want to play for you. The star of the commercial is my very good buddy, the late, great Don LaFontaine, the voice who created the trailer line, "In a World." Don was one of the greatest announcers who ever lived. I worked with Don at Fox, at CBS, at NBC, and on and on and on. Back in the early days of Fox, I got there in '88. Don was doing the dramas and I was doing the comedies. So I would see Don every single day. I'd see him at Fox. Fox at the time did not have studios on the Fox lot in Hollywood, and they used to book out at different studios around Hollywood. And they would send us to these different studios to do our promos. And so I would get to see Don there. And then if I had other gigs that I was doing at other studios that were not Fox, maybe I was working on a movie trailer or a promo for a syndicated show or whatever, there was a studio called Wood Holly, which if you really think about it, it's Hollywood backwards. Wood Holly, that I would see Don at least 2 times a day. So I'd see him at Fox, I'd see him at CBS, I'd see him over there at Wood Holly. But this is and this is Don being Don. I think that this spot perfectly captures his sense of humor and the kind of guy that he is. So let's take a look at this.
Hi, could you tell us a little bit about this movie?
Don, we need you up here.
From flesh to steel, from blood to blade, from man to mutant, evil has a new enemy, justice has a new weapon, and the world has a new hero.
That was real nice, Don.
I love when the guy says, "That was really nice, Don." He goes, "Uh-huh." I mean, and that was so Don. He would do that all the time. Just such a funny guy. Before Blockbuster came to Canada, says Dean, one of our bigger ones was called Video Station. My older brother kept a diehard VHS, never returned, and that's how I saw it for the very first time. And are you still paying late fees on that, Dean? That could be a real issue, and we'll talk about those late fees too. Poor older brother. This is just like Blair the Ghost all over again. Okay, and I think it was more the streaming, not the mail rental. Okay, folks are having a little conversation of their own, which is good. I encourage that. And come in with any questions or anything that you would like to ask and discuss. If you want to also bring up a topic of the 1990s, I would love that. Either we could talk about that tonight or in a future one of these shows on Thursday night. So back then in the 90s, watching movies felt a little bit more physical. You actually held the movie in your hands. You looked at the box, and it was a different kind of an experience. You put the tape into the VCR. Entertainment was an experience. Of all the video rental companies, Blockbuster became one of the most powerful entertainment brands in America. At its peak, like I said, there were a couple of thousand Blockbuster stores here, and thousands more. I don't know if there's another 1,000 worldwide, but they were everywhere. And it got to the point where people didn't say, let's rent a movie. They said, let's go to Blockbuster, right? And so that's when you know a brand has become really part of the culture, where instead of saying, let's watch a movie, let's watch Blockbuster, or let's go to Blockbuster. And so speaking of Blockbuster becoming huge, let's talk about something I had a chance to be a part of personally that was kind of involved in that Blockbuster world. It was the Blockbuster Entertainment Awards. If anybody remembers that, started back in 1995, ran for about 7 years every year. And I was the live announcer for every single one of those Blockbuster Entertainment Award shows that were live from Hollywood. Let's see, we got a question here. I'm curious, is that Wood Holly Company a trailer studio? Well, they did a little bit of everything, Jim. It was, if you were a producer, if you were working on a project and you needed a studio, Wood Holly was conveniently located. And because a lot of the voiceover people were working mostly in Hollywood, there were a couple of studios in Santa Monica. Rare that I would get out to Santa Monica for a read, because then you're battling traffic and things, and they knew that, you want to just keep things going, especially with Don. Don had a limousine. Okay, so Don had a limo. That way he didn't have to worry about parking. He didn't have to worry about traffic. He just sat in the back and, was taken from studio to studio. So yeah, sure, they could be recording trailers there. They could be recording promos there, commercials there, all kinds of stuff. There's a lot of people that are reacting to that Don commercial that I played. The Hollywood video commercial featured a stock music track from the 1960s called Gala Premiere, composed by Laurie Johnson. Look it up, says Jim. All right. So we're talking about the Blockbuster Entertainment Awards, and glad to see that you do remember it. Yeah, it did air on CBS. It aired on CBS first, and then 1 or 2 years it got pushed to UPN, and then it ended up on Fox, which was great because I was the voice of the comedies on Fox. And so I'd be announcing the show, and then during the show, my promos would run, for The Simpsons and all of the shows that I, was doing voice work for. Just get in and go and do the voice. Yes, exactly. That's studio to studio to studio. So let's see here. Oh, I know what I want to tell you about UPN. UPN, United Paramount Network. Fox came on first. Now I can't remember if UPN came second. Maybe you guys know, or did the WB come second to Fox? But in any case, UPN really was struggling for affiliates. And I remember the first year that we were doing the Blockbuster Entertainment Awards, I think it was, there were 2 comedians that were on stage. And one of them said, I'm kind of nervous. We're live on UPN. There could be 100 people out there watching us right now. And I just thought that was the greatest line. So the Blockbuster Entertainment Awards were huge productions. The awards celebrated the most popular movies. They also celebrated television shows and also music artists. And it was voted on by the public. And that was the big difference from a lot of the Hollywood award shows that they, were decided entirely by industry insiders. These awards reflected what people actually loved. And because Blockbuster was connected directly to movie rentals, they really did have an incredible, like a pulse on what the audiences were watching. The live Blockbuster Entertainment Award shows featured major stars, huge musical performances, staged, so incredibly. movie stars, movie clips, comedians, singers, and all of the energy of 90s entertainment culture. But the Blockbuster Awards was also huge because it gave out awards not only for the best in movies, but as I said, television, all the television stars, and music. So you had, Mariah Carey and big artists of the day, Stevie Wonder, and more that would appear. Superstars from all genres of entertainment showing up for that one live show each year in one place, wherever it may be. Sometimes we did it at the Pantages Theater in Hollywood, which is a gorgeous, gorgeous theater. And I loved doing the show from there. I have a couple of stories about that. Other times we did it at the Shrine Auditorium in downtown LA, which is massive. But from wherever it originated, it was truly huge, with a class of talent from all entertainment genres showing up for the show. So I've got here the intro, one of the intros from one of the Blockbuster shows with me live. And by the way, we did these live. There were small recorded parts where, bumpers into commercials sometimes would be pre-recorded. But this is what the Blockbuster Entertainment Awards look like when, you turn on your TV at whatever time it was going to start, and here you go.
Tonight, it's the 6th Annual Blockbuster Entertainment Awards, coming to you from the world-famous Shrine Auditorium in Los Angeles, where your favorite actors, singers, rockers, and shakers join the stellar ranks of previous winners to celebrate the best movies and music of the past year.
Julia Roberts, Nicole Kidman, Cuba Gooding Jr., Sandra Bullock,
Rupert Everett,
Janet Jackson,
John Travolta,
Shania Twain.
Tom Hanks, when did the Blockbuster Awards get so big? You can say I laughed and clapped my hands raw at the best damn award show of the year.
I'll thank God for this one. And I'll thank the devil for this one, okay?
Nev Campbell, Scream Theater. Chris O'Donnell, NSYNC.
Definitely like to thank Blockbuster and the fans for casting the votes out there.
Howard Stern, Private Eye.
I would like to take my allotted time and make out with Heather Locklear.
Recipient of the 1999 Blockbuster World Artist Award, John Travolta.
you have treated me royally, and I have enjoyed it immensely.
Ladies and gentlemen, international superstar, Grammy Award winner, and this year's Blockbuster nominee for favorite female R&B artist, Mariah Carey.
After every storm, if you look on them, a rainbow appears.
What an absolutely fun show to be a part of. The shows we did from the Pantages really were super special. It was very cool. My booth, you know, when you do live shows, the booth can end up anywhere. I remember doing, might have been Grammy Awards or something at Staples Center, back when it was the Staples Center. And the booth was in a photographer's kind of dark room. You know, it had the sinks in it. Of course, the lights were on, and it wasn't a dark room. It was a light room, and with a microphone and a television monitor and your little box. You know, you turn your mic on, and there's another button where you can talk to the director and people in the truck. You wear headphones. You hear the director in one ear and all that craziness, and you hear yourself and also what's on air in the other ear. So my booth backstage at the Pantages was actually in a dressing room, which was awesome. And we did that multiple years there. And I just looked forward to that every time, because all of the other dressing rooms were there. It was literally back of the stage, down like a flight of stairs, maybe only about 5, 6 stairs, another level behind the Pantages. And it's like dressing room, dressing room, dressing room, dressing room, and kind of a circle. And in the middle, there was a place to hang. There would be like sofas and tables and chairs and things like that. So I'm in my little booth, and I'm surrounded by all of the stars who are going to be appearing on the show, either winning prizes or awards rather, or presenting. And, they're getting ready to get on stage. And then I'm talking, this is like Tom Hanks and Cuba Gooding Jr., Tom Cruise, Jim Carrey, Julia Roberts, Will Smith, Sandra Bullock. I mean, my God, Leonardo DiCaprio, Mariah Carey, on and on and on, all these huge stars. It felt like everybody was just together hanging. And it's like going to Hollywood High School or something, and everyone's hanging out and you're having lunch in the cafeteria. So it was amazing. I remember, I purposely would leave my door open. I have my door open in my booth right now. In fact, I'd leave the door open because I wanted them to hear what was going on. And I'd, suddenly say, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome. And, they would be like, what the heck? And Tom Hanks stuck his head in once and he goes, really? You're in here? You're doing the voice in the dressing room? I want your job. I mean, it was really cool. The producer of those shows was the legendary Ken Ehrlich. Ken was really one of the giants of live television. He produced award shows like the Grammys, the Emmys, many, many, many major television specials that were usually all live. Ken was also a huge supporter of mine personally and professionally. He hired me, brought me into so many incredible live television experiences over the years in the 90s, 2000s to, 2010 and on. And I'll always be grateful for that. I did the Primetime Emmy Awards for him a couple of times. And most memorable of those were Conan O'Brien. I think Conan was just maybe going to be starting on the Tonight Show, or maybe it was before that. He was the host. He was fantastic. Ellen DeGeneres was another one who was hosting when I was announcing. Ken put me on the Grammy Awards multiple years, and also the Grammy nomination shows that we would do from Staples Center in LA. Yeah, it was incredible. The Grammy Awards back then in the 90s, there's no internet. There was, nowadays, if you watch the Grammy Awards, going into commercials, we call that a bumper going into commercials. I would say live in ceremonies held earlier this evening, Grammys were given out and it would be like classical music. And it would be all of these artists with German, these names that Russian, and they had one guy who was supposed to help you with the pronunciation. And I remember when he came in the first time and I said, okay, you got to help me with this. And he gets up next to me and he goes, well, and all I could smell was booze on his breath. And I'm going, really? This is the guy that I'm relying on, to get the pronunciations correctly. So I would write them out phonetically and then just pray. You're doing it live. You're probably gonna stumble, but I always tried to have a perfect show. And it did happen a few times, and I felt really good about that. But that's the way it was back then. Now, in ceremonies held earlier this evening, go to Grammy.com and find out. I mean, come on. That's not fair. But it was such a kick. And if you've ever been involved with a live show, there's nothing like it, and as I said, there's all of this stuff going on in your headset. You're hearing the truck, you're hearing the camera people, you're hearing the director and the assistant director talking to the lighting people, the camera people. There was one time I was doing something at the old Universal Amphitheater, and I think it was GQ Men of the Year. And usually when you're getting ready, you have your copy. You rehearse. You might start, if it's a Sunday night show, you might start rehearsing on Thursday or Friday with the announcer. They're rehearsing for 2 weeks. And I was, on this page, ready to introduce whoever it was that was coming up, and the director is saying, "Okay, camera 2, ready, Joe, you have announced number B22," and you hit the button, you go, "Yeah, got it." And okay, camera 4, okay, push in. All right, ready, announce, cue announce, and so then you go, "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome." And I hear in my headphones, "No, no, 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 stop, 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 stop." And I stopped. And then the director said, "Joe, what the heck are you doing? Go, 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 go." He wasn't talking to me. He was talking to a camera person who had moved into a shot. And he was telling him to stop, stop, stop. And I learned then that when the director says, "Ready, announce, cue announce," I turn off the truck and I go. I just do it. And if I'm running down the field the wrong way, I don't care. They told me to go. But everything moves very fast, and it's really fun. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I want to play a little bit of, just to show the excitement of this show. This goes on for a little bit. I can probably stop it. And if it's getting to be a little long, I also want to look at your comments here and be able to answer some of those. So here's the feel of the Blockbuster Entertainment Awards.
It's the 6th annual Blockbuster Entertainment Awards, with scheduled appearances by 98 Degrees, Jason Alexander, Gillian Anderson, David Arquette, Kevin Bacon, Drew Barrymore, Kathy Bates, Thora Birch, David Boreanaz, Jan Carl, Rachel Lee Cook, Billy Crystal, Johnny Depp, Kirsten Dunst, Lawrence Fishburne, Daisy Fuentes, Tony Goldwyn, Tom Green, Salma Hayek, Ashley Judd, Jane Krakowski, Lisa Kudrow, Michelle Kwan, Limp Bizkit, LL Cool J, Brian McKnight, Frankie Muniz, Keanu Reeves, Christina Ricci, Denise Richards, Kira Sedgwick, Alicia Silverstone, Lily Sobieski, Charlize Theron, James Vanderbeek, Michelle Williams, Reese Witherspoon, and Stevie Wonder, with special performances by Mark Anthony, Mariah Carey, Enrique Iglesias, and Uncle Kracker featuring Kid Rock. Ladies and gentlemen, Screen Actors Guild Emmy and Golden Globe Award winner, X-Files star Gillian Anderson.
I just got to stop it there for a second. I love how she looks. Isn't that shot amazing? Where it comes around behind her and it's looking out. And I remember Tom Hanks saying, "When did the Blockbuster Awards get so big?" It was really massive.
Ladies and gentlemen, this year's Blockbuster nominee for Favorite Actress in the James Bond thriller The World Is Not Enough, Denise Richards, and Limp Bizkit's Fred Durst.
And the Blockbuster Award for Favorite Actor in a Horror Film is Johnny Depp.
The sets are so cool. I love that they really the set design was really fun. And really
The 6th Annual Blockbuster Entertainment Awards. It's brought to you by Blockbuster.com. Log on to Blockbuster.com now and enter to win the Watch, Click, and Win sweepstakes. Just answer a simple question about tonight's show, and you can win a $10,000 Visa card.
wow, there's Blockbuster making an attempt to get into the future.
Coke. It could be your next Coke. America Online version 5.0. Call 1-800-4ONLINE to sign up today.
America Online, what did it say? 5.0? Oh my God.
Sony Digital Imaging. Change the way you see the world. And by MCI WorldCom.
Wow. I love it.
The best night on TV. This is the Sunday to see.
Oh, okay. Here comes a little Fox promo with that I happen to voice.
This summer, take the plunge for an hour of fun that's right down your alley. The Simpsons, followed by Malcolm in the Middle.
A little lower, son.
Part of the Fox Sunday to See at 8/7 Central. Ladies and gentlemen, legendary singer, songwriter, producer, and 21-time Grammy Award winner, Mr. Stevie Wonder.
Thank you.
Wow. That is super cool. Let's see. There we go. They really captured, the feeling of entertainment in the 1990s. I mean, there really were, class A talent that, showed up for those. And, movies were booming. Television was booming. Music was booming. And Blockbuster Video really sat in the center of it all. But then something happened. The world started changing. And Blockbuster completely missed it. Onto the scene, right, comes this little company, and I know you know where I'm going, called Netflix. They came around with they're twisting the whole Blockbuster model, and it was a new idea. Instead of driving to the video store, what if the DVDs simply arrived in your mailbox? And how about this? No late fees, no rushing back to the store to get it in time so you don't have a late fee, and no all copies rented. There was no such thing, no hidden charges. You just paid a monthly subscription fee, and you kept a certain number of DVDs at home at the same time. I remember when I signed up real early, and it was 4. You could have 4 DVDs out at the same time. That later changed to 3, but because, those of us who had gotten in early, were grandfathered in. And so that was kind of cool. So let's see here. Let's talk about Netflix now coming in. And, oh, this is cool. Stevie Wonder's birthday was yesterday. I didn't realize that. Happy birthday, Stevie. So let's take a look at a couple of commercials. Let's see if I can find one here. I want to play a Netflix commercial, okay? This is somewhat early on. So here you go.
There's a better way to rent movies. As many as you want for just $20 a month and no late fees. Go to Netflix.com. Make a list of the movies you want to see, and in about 1 business day, you'll get 3 DVDs. Keep them as long as you want, without late fees. Then when you're done, look, prepaid envelopes. Return one, and they'll send you another movie from your list. It's easy.
Netflix. All the movies you want, $20 a month, and no late fees.
Yeah, absolutely. What a novel idea. And once this new idea of receiving DVDs in the mail, and you can keep them as long as you want. I mean, I remember having, 4 out at a time. and having them way too long. Sometimes you just don't have time to watch all 4 movies, and you would keep them for whatever. And as soon as you send it back, automatically you would get the next one that you have on your list. So this whole idea really started to get some traction, and Blockbuster was starting to wake up and go, they just thought this little company was just going to go away. And so Blockbuster suddenly copies the Netflix model, okay, and to add to what they're normally doing. But then they also had a little something extra that was, I can see that it makes sense. And maybe it's something that you could use to go up against Netflix. But I do think that it started to happen and it was a little too late. So let's take a look at this Blockbuster commercial when they finally went, oh, wait a minute here. I think we got to do something.
Blockbuster Total Access, Netflix. Essentially, they work the same way. You order movies online. They come right to your mailbox. You watch them, then mail them back in a prepaid envelope. But what if you're thinking, let's get a new movie right away? With Netflix, you mail them back and wait. But only Blockbuster gives you the option of bringing them back to the store and exchanging them. No extra charge.
Here's your new movie, sir.
So you never have to wait.
That was fast.
Movies through the mail plus movies through the store, one low price. That's Blockbuster Total Access. Get your free trial at Blockbuster.com.
That's actually a very good idea. Somebody, in marketing or whoever it was said, okay, there's a lot of positives with Netflix, and everything is showing up in the mail right to your house. But what's the negative? Well, the negative is once you send one back, it's going to take a couple of days for you to get the next one on your list. Whereas Blockbuster says, hey, we've got thousands of stores everywhere, wherever you are. We'll do the same thing. We're sending them to your house, but you know what? You could just drop them off at our store and you could pick up another one right away. Pretty cool idea. And through it all seemed that Netflix, though, despite this, and it was a good campaign, I think, Netflix was just cooler. They were the opposite of Blockbuster was getting to be old line, and Netflix was new. They were like today. And they also, in their marketing, had a sense of humor. And we're going to play a spot here that I think you'll get a chuckle out of.
Why, Jimmy? Why are you still not renting your movies from the Netflix? Come here, sit down. It's easy. Make a list of movies you want to see and get your first DVDs in the mail in about 1 business day.
Oh, it is easy.
Shut up. Keep them as long as you want. Send one back in a prepaid envelope, and they automatically mail another from your list. Late fees? Forget about it.
No late fees.
Shut up.
There's a movie waiting for you at home. Netflix. All the DVDs you want, starting at only $9.99 a month.
I love it. How about you called it the Netflix? Hey, how come you're not doing the Netflix? And so through all this, then came kind of one of the biggest business mistakes that they could make. Netflix approached Blockbuster at a certain point. I mean, it was a fledgling company, it was doing well, but still, it wasn't anywhere near the level of Blockbuster. And Netflix reportedly offered to sell the company to Blockbuster for $50 million. And according to the stories that came out, I mean, the CEO of Netflix went to Blockbuster, met with their executives, proposed the idea, and they literally laughed at him. And they didn't just see the future coming. And again, for Blockbuster, that goes back to
King of the world!
Yes! Nobody could beat us. Oh, maybe they were too dominant for too long, and maybe they simply couldn't imagine people not wanting to walk to a store anymore and, being able to look at all of the videos and pick them up, that tactile kind of thing. That's all gone away. And not wanting to walk in a store really was kind of a plus. But the world changed. And today, let's see, Blockbuster could have bought them for $50 million. I just looked this up. Netflix is worth right now $370 a billion with a B. And Blockbuster, pretty much gone. There is one store that is left. And let me see if I'm able to do this. There's one store in Bend, Oregon. And here's a little news story on it. Let's see if this will work.
Oh, your eyes aren't deceiving you. Your nostalgic movie memories are alive and well in Bend, Oregon. This is the last Blockbuster on the planet.
I've never seen 10,000 tapes in one store.
In 2004, Blockbuster had over 9,000 stores. By 2010, corporate had filed for bankruptcy, and by 2014, the last corporate Blockbuster had closed its doors. But here in Bend, Oregon, one stubborn little franchise survived. How? Well, luck, determination, and a whole lot of local support.
You know, a lot of luck has played into it. A lot of hard work has played into it. But yeah, just my love of movies, love of my crew that works here, my customers.
For over 20 years now, General Manager Sandy Harding has worked at the Bend Blockbuster. And despite the growing challenges of acquiring DVDs and VHSs, the store hasn't changed a lot, including the computer checkout system.
I mean, it is a DOS-based IBM computer system. You can see it has 1985 to 2006 in here.
This shop wasn't always a Blockbuster. In 1990, Ken and Debbie Trisher moved to Bend and opened Pacific Video. 10 years later, they joined the Blockbuster franchise.
Blockbuster is officially closing the doors of all of its corporate-run stores.
Fast forward through the credits, and by 2019, after Alaska and even Australia closed, Bend was the only one to push the play button.
They were so kind. That store actually called us the last night they were open and wished us well. And I'm like, it was like really cool that they called us all the way from Australia just to tell us good luck.
And yes, people still rent DVDs here every single day. Some even bring their kids just to teach them the ancient ritual of dropping off the movies in the return box.
And we've had people who will come in and rent a movie just to go back outside and put it in the drop box so their kids can experience that with them.
The store keeps its lights on with rentals, donations, and plenty of Bend-made Blockbuster swag. But what really keeps people coming back is the professional movie recommendations, even when the first choice is checked out.
We're here to give you suggestions, recommendations of different things, but it's not just us. You could be walking around, in the same aisle with another customer, and the other customer could be like, oh my gosh, did you see that? Or, people strike up conversations about movies all the time. So I think that is one of the things that you don't get sitting on your couch all by yourself.
Streaming might rule the present, but here in Bend, Oregon, rewinding is still required, at least metaphorically.
I've got to go down with the ship. As long as we can pay the bills and pay our employees, we're going to keep going.
From the last Blockbuster on the planet in Bend, Oregon, I'm John Bartel. Hope to see you on the back road.
Very nice. Love it. Very good. It's a classic example of a company dominating an era and becoming that brand. It's kind of like Kleenex, right? It's even tissues that are made by Scott are called Kleenex, and video stores, people just thought of them as Blockbuster, but they failed to evolve with technology as it changed. And honestly, that's maybe part of why nostalgia for Blockbuster hits people today, because it reminds us of a moment in time that's disappeared, right? The ritual that we talked about, going there and walking through the aisles and reading the boxes, the excitement of doing that, the total experience. And maybe that's why all of us are gathering here together for these VHS playback parties, because we miss experiencing entertainment together, not just scrolling through it. And but it is fun to relive this era. There's something special about the 90s. A lot of you guys may have been teenagers or younger. I know somebody who was saying that, gee, Joe, I was 7 and now I'm 47. And yeah, that's true. But so there's a lot of different ages across the demographic, that experience the 90s and have fond memories. There's someone who says they met a couple of pretty girls in the Blockbuster on Friday and Saturday nights. Another great reason to go to Blockbuster. So let's wrap it up here with one more trip back to the 1990s. My friends over at This Day in Simpsons History, I always like to go over and see what they're doing on Twitter. I highly recommend them. They posted another great Fox promo from this week. And let me see, 33 years ago today, this was yesterday. Krusty Gets Canceled first aired on Fox, featuring Bette Midler, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Johnny Carson, Elizabeth Taylor, Luke Perry, Barry White, and Hugh Hefner. Let me see if I can bring this up, folks. This.
When a TV legend gets canceled, what? All of Hollywood turns out for Krusty's big comeback. Get a load of this. Join Johnny Carson,
Hi-yo.
Bette Midler, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and many more.
What are you making? Joe Luke Perry? Upstage me, will ya?
Watch an all-star Simpsons Sunday.
That's great. I love it. As I often say, you may not know my face, but you might have heard my voice. So listen, thanks for hanging out tonight. Let's go over to the comments as we wrap up the evening. That was me who said about The Simpsons being 7, and now you're 43. Sorry to age you an extra 4 years to 47. Who did you meet? Who did I meet? Are you thinking at the Blockbuster Awards? I was very fortunate to meet pretty much everyone because we were all in that dressing area where our dressing rooms were. My kids at the time. So if at 95, my daughter was 11 and my son was maybe about 9. And from 95 all the way through 2001, we were doing the Blockbuster Awards. And part of my deal that I would have the lovely people at SBV Talent work was, besides getting paid, I also need tickets for my family and friends. And I remember our neighborhood friends, our friend Patty Black coming, my brother Henry and his wife who were in town from Connecticut came. And my kids have pictures with everybody from the 90s, NSYNC, Tom Green. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And they had the run of the place, which was really fantastic. Let's see, what do we got here? Went on a few dates, none of them memorable. Okay, all right, good to know. That had to be one of the last times Johnny did anything. I was thinking that as well in that promo. Absolutely. What was the longest award show you worked? You know what? The Emmys would go long and the Grammys would go long. Blockbuster was pretty set, but things like the Emmys, such an important in the television industry, and it's very hard to get the people winning the awards to stay to 1 minute, right? So they're going to go on and on and on. So those would run late, and it's supposed to be a 2-hour show. I don't know if it ever went 3 hours, but it sure went, it went longer than what was anticipated. So listen, I appreciate you guys stopping by, and thank you. If you have any ideas, anything that you would like to talk about this decade of the 1990s, how did it affect you? What were some of your memories of the 90s? Things that I found by playing some of these Simpsons promos and Married with Children and talking about the early days of Fox. And I do that. I'll put out a short video once a day. The response to it is amazing. And the things that people say, that's the soundtrack of my childhood. I mean, it really does resonate. And it was a very, very cool time. It really was. Well, you're welcome, Dean. I appreciate you being here. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. I'm enjoying it. The memory of the 1990s was seeing Zach Morris on the boob tube. All right. Excellent. Okay, well, listen, you can drop a line to me anytime on Instagram. I'm Joe Cipriano VO. On Twitter, which I believe we're live on Twitter finally tonight. I am at Josip, Joecip. And I think I'm at I'm Joe Cipriano VO at TikTok. But drop me a line. Let me know what you would like to do. One kind of random thing I remember you doing. You know what? I did want to talk about that on one of the upcoming shows. And I may talk about that next week, in addition to some of the Fox comedies. But yeah, I when I started working at CBS and going to Television City, which is, the hub of CBS Hollywood, ironically, when I was doing the promos there, I also got hired to be the announcer for Pictionary back in 1997, and I did about 120 shows on Pictionary with the host. Does anybody remember the host? I'm going to hold back the name of the host to see if somebody can come up with that. Fox was also must-see TV in the 90s. Absolutely. So I would get to do Pictionary at, there it is. David's got it. The one and only Alan Thicke. Dean, I thought you would be on that. You're Canadian, and so is Alan. He was a handful to work with. Sadly, no longer with us. Very funny, but I've got some stories, and I'll save those to talk next week. But yeah, it was very fun. Oh, here we go. Got a couple others. Alan Thicke. He's also the dude who composed a lot of game show music scores in the 70s. He also wrote the music for a sitcom, and I can't think of the name of the sitcom. I'm going to give you guys a chance to Google that, but he did write the opening credit song for a very popular sitcom. I remembered Pictionary, but not the host. Yes, that's another thing we'll do is talk about the setup at Pictionary. Unlike Deal or No Deal, which I did for 5-6 years, Pictionary was done on the Price is Right stage at CBS, Television City. So the weekends that we would do Pictionary, and we would do 5 shows on Saturday, 5 shows on Sunday. So you got 2 weeks of shows that you can do in 2 days. Then you take 2 weeks off. Then you come back and you do Saturday, Sunday again, and 2 weeks more. So they would pull off all of the sets, everything that had anything to do with that show, and then put up all the Pictionary stuff, take it down on Sunday night, and then put Price is Right back up. Different Strokes? Was it Different Strokes? Facts of Life and Different Strokes. Okay. Interesting. Pictionary taped on the same stage as Win, Lose, or Draw. Richard Klein produced both. Yeah. And, the stage is really known for Price is Right. And there have been a lot of others. The Bill Maher show that he does now, in its early years, was actually done on that same stage. And I have a Bill Maher story from Pictionary. Oh, you know what? This is going to be fun because I have good video. If you look up Pictionary, Alan Thicke and Bill Maher, you might find the story. It involved paramedics. I'll just say that. So that's going to wrap it up for tonight. Next week, we'll flash back to more of the 90s. We'll talk about Fox. I want to get into some more Simpsons stuff, stories about early Fox, and anything else that you would like to tell. This is a very good hint. Bill Maher and Eric Estrada, That is exactly correct. And the full story will come out. Yeah, Price is Right is now. They vacated the old studios, which is a shame. But we're going to have fun. This is going to be a good one next week. And I hope you thought this was a pretty good one as well. Thanks very much for coming by. I will see you guys on the flip flop. And I'll see you next week.
Good evening and welcome to Fox.
Bye, everybody.